I'm going to show you how to choose the best investment platform in the UK, so that you can take advantage of the different benefits that they may offer and find the optimal method to compound your wealth over the longer term. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just some young lad on the internet with a passion for stock market investing. So please do not take what I say as financial advice, and please do your own research. Firstly, before we discuss the various investment platforms, I think it is best to start by building a personal profile. This will include your age, when you would like to draw down on this money, how much you can invest from your paycheck, and the overall size of your investments. This is because we all have different investment goals, investment horizons, and also different amounts of income, which could drastically change which platforms are optimal for every different person. I personally am 21 years old. I would like to be able to withdraw my money at the age of 30. Even if I don't necessarily need it, it's a level of comfort that I gain from it. I can invest a majority of my paycheck because I have little to no expenses and I live under my parents, quite fortunately. And I've managed to build a fair chunk of wealth for my age, sitting at around £18,000 invested in the stock market. Next, it's worth looking at the investment accounts available in the UK, and there's a few different types that you can see. We have a range of things that are tax efficient and not tax efficient. I personally would opt for the one that reduces the most amount of tax, as less tax means that you have more money that can compound into even more in the future. However, we also do currently have very generous tax allowances for those of you that aren't that interested in investing large amounts of wealth. This is £2,000 per year in dividend income or £12,300 per year in capital gains. However, this is subject to change each year, and so it's best to keep on top of it by looking at the gov.co.uk website. The main investment account products to note are a various selection. These are GIA, ISAs, and SIPPs. The SIPPs are a self-invested pension plan. They allow you to deposit up to £40,000 in a given tax year. They do give you a tax benefit, so when you put money in, you do get a tax rate relief, and this is dependent on your income level. For instance, if you aren't taxed though, you will get a standard 20% base rate tax relief. But if you're at a higher rate, you will have to claim it. However, the catch is that on withdrawal, and you have to wait until the retirement age, which is 55 currently, or after 2028, it's going to be 57. So if you're quite young at the moment, this can be subject to change a fair amount. But the catch is that on withdrawals, 25% of that overall wealth is tax-free. However, the rest of it is taxed at standard rate. Furthermore, if you go over the lifetime allowance, which is currently £1.07 million, which can change from time to time, then that money is counted as surplus, and that will either be 25% plus income rate tax or 55% as a lump sum tax. We also have stocks and shares ISAs that can be in a multiple amount of forms. An example of this could be a flexible stocks and shares ISA, which allows you to deposit and withdraw money which doesn't eat into your allowance. And we also have the likes of a lifetime ISA, which is slightly different. I'm not going to cover in this video today. All stocks and shares ISAs except the lifetime ISA will provide you an annual allowance that you're allowed to deposit money into of £20,000 per year, and once more, this is subject to change. However, the money placed inside of them are not given tax rate relief at the source of deposits, but at the same time, they are not taxed on withdrawal. So this means if you can invest your post-tax money into this pot, then the money that you withdraw from this will also be post-tax, and therefore you will not be paying tax on any investments inside the stocks and shares ISA, aside from stamp duty, but that cannot be avoided in any way. Lastly, we have a GIA, which is a general investment account, and this will be taxed at standard rate depending on your income and wealth levels. This is where the allowances will come into things. However, it really depends on your financial situation to decide using a GIA. I personally use a stocks and shares ISA as my primary investment account to build wealth. This is because I have a long-term investment horizon. I personally believe that that lifetime allowance in a SIPP will be reached before that age, and therefore the best way to grow my money, in my opinion, is with the ISA. Furthermore, my income is at a lower amount compared to others. I don't make more than £20,000 in a year, and so a majority, or if not, I can put all of the savings that I make into the ISA without having to worry about where to put the money after filling the allowance. Furthermore, I like the flexibility that they offer. I could, if I wanted to, at the age of 30, withdraw portions of that money, be it dividend income, or for instance, sell my investments and go elsewhere. And that tax-free compound rate is something I really think is important for growth over the long term. Although someone who is already 10 to 15 years away from the retirement age, so maybe they're 40, maybe they're 42, they may benefit more from using a SIPP. They may have a higher income than I do, and therefore tax rate relief may be more important. Therefore, they can have that tax rate relief removed on their deposits into the SIPP, and also they don't have to wait as long to be able to access these funds. Furthermore, since it would be a shorter term horizon, it may be more unlikely that they are to reach the lifetime allowance, and therefore it could fit them more applicably. Furthermore, if they're likely making more money than I am, then they may make more benefit of up to £40,000 of deposits each year. I personally think the general investment account can be used in certain situations, but I personally believe it is much more worthwhile to either max out the SIPP allowance or the ISA allowance before considering investing that surplus money into a general investment account. Now that we've established the investment account types and which one may be best for you, we need to look at the investment platforms. A great resource to use is the Motivator list of brokers. I'm going to put this link in the description down below, and this provides you a detailed summary of all of the brokers and their fees. And this is updated regularly. I personally believe there's not too much of a competition between the stockbrokers, and in fact they're in almost perfect competition. This means that not much differs between their offerings and product ranges, except for the fees. In my opinion, fees are very important to reduce, as they can impact your long-term investment horizon and therefore the overall amount of money you have at a specific age. For example, the FTSE 100, which is the 100 largest companies by market capitalisation listed on the London Stock Exchange. Since 1984, on average, they have annualised 7.75% with dividends reinvested. And I think it's fair to assume that over a longer term period, like 20, 30 years, that this rate is going to be very similar to what it will be in the future. So if we assume this is the case, we also take into account inflation, which takes 2% of your money each year, basically meaning that £100 now, next year you would require £102 of spending power for the same product or value. The Bank of England sets a target for inflation of 2%, so it will vary from year to year, but it's best to use 2% as that is the target. Furthermore, if you had a 2% fee on your investments, this cuts your overall returns down from 7.75% down to 3.75%. And you may think, well, that's not too much of a big difference, that's still a positive return, and therefore my money will build. And that's true, except when you look at the difference over the longer term. Over a 30-year period, assuming you invest £1,000 a month, with 5.75 average annual returns, you would have a pot sized £936,000. But if you had that 3.75% return, you would only have £658,000. That is a massive difference considering the ever so slight fees. The fees don't look big, but they can really eat into your long-term returns. And it really shows how much of a difference they can make. Although there is one last point to be made about fees, and this is dependent on the size of your investments or overall wealth. If you are just starting investing, then it's likely that you would be better off with percentage-based fees. These fees will scale with wealth, but once they become too expensive, you can transfer to a fixed rate. This is because the more money you have, the more that percentage fee is going to cost you. Whereas if you have a lot of wealth, fixed rate fees may be good, because if you had £1 million, a £10 trade fee is not going to be that much of an impact to your overall portfolio. But if you only have a £100 portfolio and you have a £10 trade fee, then that's 10% of your investment value gone through fees. So therefore it's best for those with lower amounts of wealth to stick with the percentage fees, as it won't eat up as much, and then those with the higher amounts of wealth to go with the fixed rate fees. One last factor before selecting brokers is how you would like to invest in the stock markets. There are a few different methods, however the main two that I would assume are either investing in index funds or ETFs and stock individual equities, as some brokers only offer one of the two available. It's commonly stated that it's very difficult to outperform the markets. Furthermore, in the UK, 4 out of 5 fund managers actually fail to outcompete the markets. So therefore, it may be more difficult for someone to pick individual stocks and beat an investment fund. So some people suggest that you should buy an investment fund because you can't beat the market. I personally believe that with a large time investment that I can afford to give since I'm young and have more time, that I can put this into researching the UK stock market and therefore benefit from that additional amount of information available to me. And therefore I believe that I could outperform the markets due to the additional research. And that's why I personally pick individual stocks. For a beginner investor or someone interested in just buying an index fund and forgetting about it, not having to do active research, then I think Vanguard is the best platform for you. They offer a wide range of low fee funds and plenty of information so that you can read up on it. Furthermore, they have a majority of the investment accounts. They have the general investment account, they have stocks and shares ISA, and it's even flexible, and they also have SIPPs. So this can include a lot of things. However, it is percentage fee based, although it is the lowest of their competitors, and they don't charge individual trade fees. The disadvantage of Vanguard is that they only allow their selection of funds and index funds. This means that you will not be able to stock pick in the UK or US stock markets, and therefore you may never truly beat the markets. But if you're starting from scratch, then I think Vanguard is one of the best options, as it allows you to both learn the stock markets, get used to that volatility, but also slowly build your wealth, as the percentage fees will be very much negligible to your starting capital. However, for someone with an alternative strategy that wants to invest in both stocks and shares and index funds, then the option I believe would be best with zero fees is Trading 212. I think Trading 212 is the ideal platform, although they only offer a general investment account and a stocks and shares ISA, which is unfortunate for those interested in the self-invested pension plan. They are constantly adding to their available share pool, meaning that more investments are added every day. Not every day, but very often. And they're adding new features to their apps. Certainly from a broker perspective, they have innovated the most, such as pies, where you can choose your investments based on a percentage amount you would like them to take up in your portfolio, and then they will do the auto investing for you. The downsides is that Trading 212 is currently loss making aside from their CFD part of the platform, and this could lead to some uncertainty into how well this business will thrive in the future. This could mean that fees are introduced in the future, and therefore this could eat into your long-term returns, but at the moment they have no fees, and for the ISA I think that's a good deal. I actually have a Trading 212 link in the description down below, which you can get a free share worth up to £100 when you deposit just £1. So if you're interested, click that link down below. A good fixed rate fee platform that offers both an ISA and a SIPP is Freetrade. They don't offer any trade fees, but rather a monthly fee for having the account. This would be £3 a month for an ISA, which I think is fair, and also £9.99 a month for a SIPP. However, there is an additional paywall that means you will have to pay more money with an item called or a service called Freetrade Plus. They basically mean that they've put a lot of the individual stocks and shares and some funds behind a paywall, and therefore you have to pay more money to access or even buy these options. But then at the same time, you may not need access to these stocks and shares, as they have all of the FTSE 350 stocks, S&P 500, and also the top 100 AIM listed equities. And the fixed rate fees could be an advantage for those of you with more wealth. £9.99 a month really isn't going to impact someone with a very large SIPP portfolio size. Whilst they have a more limited selection of stocks and funds, they do plan to add on this, and at the moment you do have the core stocks to buy. But there is also very limited information on the app, so you would have to use external sources for your research. And so at the same time, it may not be the best for beginners, even though it presents the simplest UI of the lot, which is both an advantage and a disadvantage. I'm personally fine with this, and I use it with my stocks and shares ISA. The advantage is that I don't need this additional information because I don't do my research on my investment platform, but go elsewhere. However, to those of you that are newer and need this research information, then this simply won't be providing that. The biggest downside with Freetrade is actually their lack of website. Currently it is app only, and this could really push a lot of people away. But in the future, they have mentioned that they would like to add this, and they've had a lot of things that they're on the planning list to add, but it simply hasn't added yet. So maybe in that longer term future, this will develop into a very strong broker, but at the moment it is a very bare bones and limited app, and I personally couldn't recommend it unless you have a high amount of wealth and you're comfortable putting your money in an unprofitable broker. But at the same time, at least they have some fees so that they are making money from their investing platform unlike trading 2-on-2. I'm satisfied with Freetrade in my personal use, although I don't think it's great that they are charging for the lack of innovation and not really marketing a good product but just trying to monetize it. And I don't think it's worthwhile for the majority of people, but for those looking for a fixed rate SIPP with no trade fees, then I think that is probably the best option around. After all, this motivated list of brokers will contain a majority of the brokers in the UK, and so that link is in the description down below, and you can go and look for what you would need. Everyone is different and everyone has different needs, but I hope by covering 3 core brokers, this can give you a good start point and you can do further research. Furthermore, if you're interested in getting a free share up to £200 when you deposit just £1, I also have a free trade referral link in the description down below. If you're interested in how to invest £1,000 in the UK, then click the card at the top right of the video. Thank you for watching. I'm Osborne Foreman. Have a great day.